I wanted to show you guys both ways of creating purchase orders. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to scroll down on our work order. I'm going to go ahead and open it up. And as I said previously, I would go to the budget, materials, highlight this, say, yeah, I approve them all. And then it's going to dictate what I need to purchase, which in this case is going to be our Cosmic Strands. You can see I don't have enough on hand. So I jumped over to my materials to buy grid, and it said, yeah, you need it. We're 45.75 lineal feet short. So I'm going to go ahead and click on it, and I'm going to say create PO. So it's going to start the PO. In this case, I'm going to buy it from Charter. So if you are in the middle of a drop-down menu, on some of them you can actually type the full word, but most of them, if you just hit the first letter, then it will at least take you to the C's or whatever you hit. So I'm going to buy it from Charter. My contact is going to be customer service. It's important that I put the date required because this shows up on the company calendar, which Mark will view. So I'm going to say that it is due January 9th. My payment terms are almost always net 30, but we can set all of this stuff up as the default for this vendor. We just still have to feed information into the system, and we're not there yet. Ship via, most of the time will be best way. Sometimes it's speedy, sometimes it's UPS. And then FOB is always shipping point, unless we're directly shipping it. It's called drop shipping from our vendor to a client's address, something like that. So here's the 3 mil Cosmic Strands PVC. My quantity is I need, let's say, 1 roll of 200 feet. This is a lot of work that I keep talking about that on purchasing we need to do with edge banding. We actually buy it most of the time by the lineal foot, and our vendor dictates whether or not it comes in a 200-foot roll, 250-foot roll. So I need to price and create the units of measure accordingly. So I'll say create PO, and it will take me to that purchase order. And what you can see is that 200 lineal feet, but if we ordered 200, it would do 200 times 200, and our unit cost would be like 6,600, and that's never coming out right. So once we have that purchase order with all the information in it, we go ahead and click on Generate PDF, and it is important that when we do that, we go ahead and review everything on the PDF to make sure that it's accurate. So yeah, we've got a $66 PO. It is going to the Charter Industries Chicago location, and sometimes we'll have the vendor SKU, information like that. So we'll go ahead and print it, and we'll send it to the vendor. In the future, we're also going to have and this one's actually relatively ready, but we can have a link for Outlook so that Steve can email these directly without having to print them and scan them and all that stuff. Once we're done with that and we have submitted it to the vendor, we want to change the PO status from pending to submitted. We'd want to leave it in pending for a while if we create POs to Charter, and a lot of times what companies will do is they'll have a PO sitting there open, and for the week they'll just keep adding items to it, and then they'll go ahead and submit it on a Thursday or whenever their PO is due in order to get it there in time. The other way to do this is to simply go over to the purchase orders category under purchasing and create PO, and then almost exactly what we did previously, we would say, okay, here's the vendor, here's the information, but then we would add the material. So if I wanted to go find that I wanted to add some melamine from Aetna, then I would try to type it in here, and I'd say, oh yeah, that's the 1/4 inch standard melamine that I want. Steve is aware of this, but everyone else, please make sure that anytime you see a blue hyperlink, that means it will actually take you to that. So on this, I clicked here, or let's say I click here, and that means that I'm selecting it, and I can click Add Material. If I don't do that, then it does this, and it takes you to the material to actually edit it. So let's say I want to do this, I add the material. How many sheets of 4x8 do I want? Or I can change the unit of measure and say, oh, I want 5x12s, I want 4 sheets, and I'm going to go ahead and add that material. You can see that it's very important that you have those materials in your library. You're only going to be able to add them if you have them in your library, and the pricing needs to be correct. Let us let's discuss that today. I know Scott and Steve both have some questions on that, and there's some improvements coming, but right now it is a little bit tricky, but we'll go over it. So I'm going to cancel out of this, and I'm also going to delete this PO, but typically you would say that I want to change this, the status, to submitted. Okay, so that is now submitted, and the order date is there.